Okay. Don just asked the question.
Okay, so my question, Heidi, you've been doing an amazing job with research on nonprofits and organizations that are aligned with the restoration plan and what we want to do here in Nevada and those groups. My question or point was, how do you see us integrating our purpose and our messaging to them on how we can support them and how they can support us?
Okay. Do you mind if I go to share screen?
Of course. I
Okay.
mean, that's great. Yeah. However, this is a
Okay.
group communication. It doesn't, there's no good or bad way.
Ah, ah. Let's see. I have to move some things around. It won't let me share what I want to share. Oh no, did it close it?
So
It
Roger, while
did.
she's doing that, can you remind me where you're located? Reno? Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
I'm in Reno at the moment,
I
but
thought so.
I live in Dayton,
Okay.
which is about 20 minutes east of Carson City.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So it's about 60 miles from Reno.
All right. It just helps me to, put in perspective. Yeah.
I'm with Marla and Kylie. They were on the 12 o'clock call, but we're up here working on cabinets and they're in working on the cabinets and I'm out here on the call.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. 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 Midday calls are hard for me due to my work. So.
I am very frustrated. I am having trouble finding this.
Don't worry about it.
Oh. So,
This is a work session. It's not a big deal.
okay, now we're getting places. Okay, let me go to. Why does it not show it on? Okay, I'll go with desktop. Share the whole desktop. Ah, that way you get to see your picture of you.
There you go.
Okay, what I did, I pulled all 13,838 not-for-profits in Nevada, and I sorted them by county and then by state, or excuse me, city within that state. And I went to names that looked like they were health healing locations. But yeah, when I was working for you, that's what I did, because I wanted to find some people that you might know, which I did. I succeeded in that.
That's right, you did.
And one of the things that I did learn was anybody that's getting mega bucks like that, we probably don't want to work with. They're getting too much money from somebody's, to get this done. We don't know what that's about. So I was looking for the smaller folks, and I found one lady that trains managers, and that her not-for-profit is under 50,000. She's been doing it for 10 years. And she's a really good networker, and she goes to various locations. So she'd be perfect for going to county seats and teaching. But what I would do is I would take the EIN number and then plug it into the IRS.
Right.
So I don't want a church. Let's see.
So,
Yeah.
so let's say we find 20, 30, 40, 50 groups, right?
Right.
That we feel are synergistic.
Right.
And what is our approach to them? Here's who we are. We believe we could be synergistic. We've got additional funding, and this is what we can do. What are your thoughts about the message to them?
Well, what I would start with personally is, have you heard of the assurance program? Are you a,
And
are you a,
99.999% of people would say no.
right?
Yeah.
Would you like to be registered as an assurance healthcare provider on a special list? You can take their cards already, but would you like to be listed as a provider on the assurance card program? And if they are interested in that, I would send them to the Life Force Health and Wellness Dash.
Yeah.
And
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think that as far as validity for our purpose, assurance is definitely the way to go. 100%,
Right.
Right?
for health services, for family services, absolutely.
Right.
So then the second thing would be, if they are not interested in being listing, I would collect the codes that their services are.
But just so you know, Heidi, so here's my position on this. The only reason they wouldn't be interested is that we didn't present our message clear enough. So every time someone says no, we redefine our message, because there is no way any health provider would not want to get paid immediately without having to go through the cumbersome burden of the CPT and medical professional stuff. I live in that world. That's part of what I do as a consultant. So I know that very well. So,
Right.
So my mission for us is, whether it's multiple, but we can talk about that later, but I think our messaging and our ability to communicate what assurance is and how it's going to benefit Nevada is going to be such a key initiative for us.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yep.
And
Along these lines of healthcare and assurance, and I know that Dawn's involved in that area, Life Force is in agreement with trying to do alternative sources, and I guess those med beds is part of that.
correct.
But they're offering incentives for people that want to do maybe acupuncture or
100%. So,
yeah.
so Roger, just so you know, just because I happen to have a client that's FDA approved, it's frequency medicine that got FDA approved. It's integrative. It's the combination.
Right.
You know, I've never taken a pharmaceutical in my life, and I'm in my 60s. So I am all about integrative health, natural medicine, and so are all my colleagues. What we've tried to do is do an integrative medicine solution so that we can cross between what my parents are stuck with, right? And where we want to be.
Right.
Just so you know, it's not, I am not allopathic medicine in any way, shape, or form. I just happen to support my clients who are integrative and alternative to help get paid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for clarifying that. Very good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And Dawn, didn't you say you were actually working with Life Force headquarters to help with the insurance cards?
I did a proposal. That's all I can say.
Okay.
Right. We'll see. Right. Only because what I'm doing for one of my clients seem to be aligned.
Right.
So we'll see how that works out.
Wonderful. Congratulations on even putting that suggestion in. Okay, so do you want to know any more about the not-for-profits, or what's the next thing?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go back to sharing on Foxfire. Oops. I blew something. This is my area that you see all the time, Dawn, but Roger's never seen.
That's
This
all
is-
right.
Yeah, this is my backup,
It's a
Roger.
beautiful thing. It's a
It-
beautiful thing.
It's where I try very hard to keep only the current things available to the folks that want to access them. Okay, so I want to go to, not Google, I want to go up to irs.gov. And you see this on the header, charities and not-for-profits.
Mhm.
And you can search the organizations, and there is the tax exempt portal that you go into. And then from that list that you saw, let's see, which one was I picking? I like this one. Copy. Okay. Paste. Okay, and then search. Sierra Low Cost Senior Housing. This particular person does a lot of advertising. I think that's a good market for us to be aware of.
Absolutely.
Now, she only has up to $50,000 in gross revenue. Courtney Warner. So we could look her up personally in whitepages.com. But what I'd like to do is take the name of this Sierra Low Cost Housing Center and show you how you can research.
We are recording, correct?
Yes, we are
Okay,
recording.
thank you.
Sierra Low Cost Senior Housing. And I'm going to put that in quotes so it doesn't search the individual words. Plus Carson City, Nevada. And then it'll pull up some of these things about her
Uh-huh.
and what she's trying to do, so we can vet probably 20 or more not-for-profits that look right, get
Mhm.
the actual presidents and officials, get their background, see what they're up to, how they're doing it, without
So-
even touching.
So
the
here's
phone.
what I would like to volunteer to help with. Well, I'm going to volunteer my son and his crew, right? So
Okay.
my son has a major branding and company. I mean, he deals with like the big guys.
Mhm.
And every day, because he's my beautiful son and he loves his mom and he loves what I'm doing, says, "What can I do for you?"
Uh-huh.
So at some point, I don't want to trigger him too soon because he's big time. Now, I don't mean that way in an ego thing. I just mean that, what he does is like gets right to it, right?
Right, right.
Is that when we decide we want to present what we're doing to the public,
Yep.
I would love to invite him to a meeting, meet him, and I've got some core questions we can ask our group about how we want to communicate, and he will do our broad.
What I would love to do is have him work with the officer's public relations budget and give some ideas of how much it would cost to do some of this,
Okay,
because we would like to, whether it's the 30% or whether it is the 100%, we would like to have good people do this sort of thing for us so that our administrators can
Yeah.
just be administrators and not researchers.
So where my son, his name is Shane Parrish, where he would come in is as a favor and a love for me and our process, give you some broad strokes. He doesn't, he's a consultant, but he's at the point where unless he's, like a stockholder, he doesn't put a lot of attention in something, and that's not where we're at. He will
Right.
give us some attention. He will do the things that we need to then give it to someone that doesn't need to think about what needs to happen. He's already figured it out and they execute. And then we just pay them because he would not be that person.
Right.
If that makes sense, right?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay.
And right now, what we're looking at, all the officers have a working budget of 239, actually 240 million. And so we would be able to do quite a bit.
I guess we could. So I
Yeah.
don't think we got to worry about it.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
but we need an idea of how to spend it so we can have a detailed budget.
All right. Well, yeah.
So,
Well, I've done it for years for him as his business manager, and his mom on the side for all his clients. So I know how to put those budgets together for sure. And we need them. If we don't communicate properly, if we don't have the right media outlets and all those things, we're doing these great things and no one knows about it.
correct. That's correct. Okay,
And
so
it'll only be just market value, not, anything other than that. So,
right.
Yeah.
So let me switch back to the spreadsheet again real quick. And I can show you some links that I found that are, I would call them secondary to the IRS site, because they will pick up affiliates, and we don't necessarily want affiliates. We want the horse's mouth when we're doing this kind of work. You know what I mean?
well, what's interesting about the concept of affiliates is once we have the right message out and we can qualify and quantify our affiliates, we may want that program.
Agreed.
But
Agreed,
it's all checks and balances for sure.
right. And it is hiding
Just so you
from
know,
me.
Heidi, all the work you've done here is like mind blowing to everybody else.
Well, it was mind blowing to me too. And, just about every other of the groups started out with, okay, everybody needs a computer. It's like, all right. And like Texas, he was saying, we need 2 computers for each 150 year or 150 mile radius. And so that we can have somebody that can get there and back home in a day. And it's like, okay. Yep.
I saw that.
But what I want to do is hopefully help people wrap themselves around the fact when Kim says we would be doing it on our own,
Right.
we will be.
Yeah.
And I want to do 30%. I just want to oversee. I want to audit. That would be fun. But boy, oh boy, when you talk about running the waterworks and running the sewer and running the trash.
Oh, we've talked about this. And even if we come in and said, okay, we own this, who's going to back us up?
Well, the GIA is doing a really good job in Oregon. I know you probably.
I know it is. I know it is. But I think our voting members, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, just so you know, right? But our voting members need to understand what they're voting for. I mean, I've got people in my family and my friends that I've presented all this stuff to, and they're still, they've got questions and they've got valid questions, and I'm still answering, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all yours. Go ahead.
Yeah, this would be a project for something that would be um, one time, not necessarily ongoing. um, But folks could fill in the project assessment plan to help us with the bigger picture by the county. Um, How else do I say this? You know, I keep bouncing up against the wall. How do I say it better? How do I say it more clearly? We have,
So here's what I would say. I would say, don't keep trying to clarify. Let's just give definitions to phrases people don't understand. Don't change the whole program. Just help define it, FAQs or something, right? So that people can understand what you've done here. We can, as a community, decide to change it up. But you've done so much work here. You know, I think we said this in one of our other calls. Don't keep iterating for a few people. I think we need, you know, you've got a knowledge base, you've got an expertise. We're dealing with history and moving forward.
right,
Here, you could always just do an asterisk, you know, up to your interpretation, could be changed, whatever it is. But let's start with a basis to make some clear decisions before we change the model.
okay. So let's go to Clark County. And what we worked out with Justice this morning was she wants $2,500,000 paid grand jury people. And she agreed that would go under the security committee. Is that clear enough?
So she wants 25 people.
25 members of a grand jury
Okay,
per county. So I added that to each of the counties,
to each county.
and that would be overseen. Now, we're only looking at Clark County right now,
Okay,
Clark County up there.
gotcha.
And that would be overseen by the security committee. Then this would be spread by the security committee chair, whether that's Stewart or not, you know, I don't know at this point. But that would give him a place to start with his county spreads for security. And omitted from that is training, paralegals, secure information services.
So it's my understanding with respect to the grand jury, 25 people, that a minimum of 13 are needed to hand
Right.
down a presentment or an indictment. So you have 25, but at any one time, if you have to investigate, you need administrators and investigators. I think that number is 4.
Or, yeah,
And they're going to be doing the heavy lifting. But then out of those 4, you need another 9
right,
to be able to do business with the grand jury.
right.
Okay.
So that's where she got her 25. I understand that. And I had seen 12 a lot of places because the administrative lead is a paid position separate from that. The state one, the state person. So, you know, whatever she needs, it's just I need to be able to say, okay, that's going to go to, say, Stewart. Or like if we're hiring staff for an actual building that we want to buy. Remember, I showed you that building for Clark
Yeah.
County.
Yeah.
Roger, I don't think you were in that meeting. Would you like to see that?
I would like to see it. I think I was in that meeting, but I
Oh,
didn't speak a whole lot.
oh, okay. Let me switch back to internet real quick.
Heidi, may I make a comment
Yes.
or ask a question?
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure this is for public, but what I would like to know, because you've been so instrumental these weeks and months in everything we're doing, what do you see your role in what we're doing? Because
I
I
can-
want to support whatever you really believe you want to be doing.
No, I can be replaced.
No, I'm not asking. No, I want to know. I want to know. I mean, everybody, at least initially goes, okay, I'm willing to do this, right? Step up to this. Where are you? Because you're the most valuable person at the moment that I see in everything we're doing. And I don't want it to not acknowledge that. And I want to be able to promote that at the time it needs to be promoted, just to be honest with you. I know you've been, quiet about it, but I really want to know what you're willing to do.
I want
And
us
what you're
ratified.
comfortable.
I
right?
want us ratified, period.
Okay.
And that's what I came to Kelsey
Okay.
this third time to do.
Okay.
And beyond that, I have no vision,
Okay.
whatever we need to get.
I understand. Yeah. Okay. And I appreciate that. But thank you for what you're doing. And I do want to support you in your vision. And because sometimes it takes somebody saying, oh yeah, I need to own that because that's what's going to happen. That's what needs to happen. For now, maybe someone else is going to come in the future, but for now, that probably needs to be me. And if you own that space, I will support you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And I too would support you because I agree with Dawn that you are instrumental at this point. You are putting in a lot of effort, and I appreciate everything you're doing to move it forward. And I too hope to get this ratified. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm involved as well.
Yeah, the best way to access the Global Information Agency, GIA, is through ratification and life force. And
Absolutely.
Agreed. 100%.
and those are the people that we need for enforcement,
Yes.
period.
Yes.
And when we have things coming up that are, basically America-wide, like the Bundy Superfund site or super mineral site that the military was trying to take over, we need to be able to put teeth in that if the military decides that they are going to take over, regardless of what the civil courts say. And we can't do that unless we are ratified, period. So this is a building, and hopefully it's still out there, but it looks like it's still out there. See how close that is to city center? And
But so because I'm a Clark County resident and have been here for, let's see, since 1978.
Yep.
I can tell you that this is a good price, good thing, but we would have to do a little due diligence because
Oh,
it is
absolutely.
not in a good environment.
And we would have to probably change that.
Yes.
And we could change that, especially if we opened up for a community center type.
Absolutely.
of
And I'm all about it. So I just have a little engram because I don't know if you remember, what was it? What were the LA riots for? There was a guy
yeah, I remember.
years and years ago, right?
Well, not that long ago.
No, I'm talking like 20, 30 years ago.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah. I've been here a long time, right?
Rodney King.
Yes,
riot?
you got it. Okay. Rodney King riots in LA created major riots within this zone. And what I could never understand is why would you burn down and vandalize your own community members? It was so ironic that the riots didn't go out of the local community. They literally burn down their neighbors and friends and families as opposed to go 2 miles to an affluence, a Rancho Circle community. It was unbelievable to me. Anyway,
Well,
so
that is one way to acquire real estate cheaply, because all those people that were burnt out, it's going to take years, and maybe they never got any insurance money, and
I
they
know.
most certainly will not rebuild. So you have really nice, low-priced, center of city purchase
100%,
opportunity,
right.
and somebody's going to have
Yep.
acquired a lot of that property,
That's
and they
right.
probably funded a lot of those riots.
You got that right. All I'm saying is that so again, this property is in the heart of that old situation. And so I have a little anger about it. That's all.
Right. And I appreciate that. And I'm not saying a lot of these things that we're talking about won't need to be exercised.
Right.
Um,
But I do think it's a good location because we should be in the heart of the matter.
we should
And it is
buy
a
the
good
county
property.
seat.
So,
Yeah, buy
yeah,
the county.
absolutely.
And it
Yeah.
already has security. It has an apartment for a security person built in.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things that could be up and running quite quickly, where some of the other properties that we're looking at would take considerably longer. There'd be a longer lead time. And
How much of what are we doing, in the light of, I'm in the tech community and business management, and I'm all remote. I've been remote for years and years.
right,
And most of my team has been.
right.
How much do we need a physical location to get started?
Okay, depending on the grand jury and the meetings they need to hold, it may be cheaper in the long run to build a facility like this into their needs
Okay, good.
and give them a place to meet locally before they go to the courthouse. But we
Okay.
need to be near the courthouse and the recorder's office.
Is that in every county?
Yes.
Okay.
And in most cases, from what I've seen and checking, mostly we would be renting or leasing to start because the buildings are not there.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
Go ahead.
with respect to properties and real estate,
Yep.
I'm seeing that we're in another false bubble like we were back in 03,
Mhm.
04,
I
05.
agree. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
And the prices of real estate are just going up every month, every year.
Right.
And at some point, it's going to come back to reality.
Exactly.
I
So if
agree.
we can be remote temporarily,
Yep.
that might benefit us, especially if what we're projecting to happen with the financial collapse possibly of once Kim's comes to reality and these people realize that, no, there's nobody coming to bail them out.
Correct.
There's going to be, who knows what's going to happen financially, but it's not going to be good.
Well, that'll be up to us, won't it?
It will.
Yep.
Okay, so let's stop that share. Now, where do we go from here? Do you want to go back to Clark County and discuss some of the other line items?
For me, when it's such a small group, I guess for me, it's about what are our most significant next steps to get other members, to get people to understand, because what you've done is amazing, Heidi, but just Roger and I seeing it isn't significant enough to implement it. So now that we know we've got the content and the meat of the matter, and we can tell anybody that joins us, look what we're doing. How do we get those people to join us? I think for me, I would like to participate in that next step because, again, what you've done is so amazing. But if there's only two of us looking at it, I don't know that it's going to get the traction it needs.
Yeah, and to have people attacking the very concepts on the assembly telegram does not help.
Especially if they don't even know what we're talking about, because
Correct.
they've not been on these calls, right?
Correct.
I
Now,
know.
I have been hesitant to delete some of these things. I have the right to delete them. I have waited until they have died, or the topic at least has died, and then I have been deleting them off.
Well, delete all you want, darling. I support you.
Well,
And
that's what
when
Blaine
people
said.
deserve to know, we can. I mean, for real, right? If
Yeah.
people really want to be part of the solution
Right.
and not oppose it, then I'm just saying.
And that's where my heart is. It's like,
Yeah, I know.
shit or get off the pot.
Exactly. Right.
I mean,
Right.
it's time. We really do have to move on this stuff, and people with brakes on is not a good thing.
Right. Roger, what do you think?
I agree. I am working on trying to get more people to come on board, but we do need to just keep moving forward, and if we need to make adjustments, we can do that. And Heidi's very flexible, and I'm all for it.
Well, we do have a good start now, and every person that attends helps me flesh in another aspect where I had no way to even attach, myself to even open the doors so I could see. And it is a seeing process, I do believe. It's almost like,
But it is, and I do believe you've got divine intervention on that. I've seen that all the way, just so you know.
So I want to bring something up that's kind of along the lines of the budget, and it
Right.
does have to do with health as well.
yes,
And I want to know if either of you have heard of the term, the silver-haired tsunami.
I have not heard it, but I 100% get what you're saying right now.
So
yeah, 80% of the lawyers are going to be retired in the next 10 years.
Oh, no. How about the baby boomers going
right,
on?
right, there you go.
Six,
That's
So
it.
six
the
out of
silver-haired,
10,
Yeah.
6 out
That-
of 10 accountants will not be in this field in the next 10 years.
right. So
Medical
the-
doctors are retiring within 10 years, 80% of them.
And so with that being said, I want to bring up the possible statistic of the large percentage of nurses and doctors, they've got the jab.
Yeah.
And
That was
That-
by design, yeah.
that could be a detriment to a lot of people if it turns out that that jab is going to cause some long-term effects in the near future.
Yep.
Yeah, we need to get all of the resources and the assurance cards out just as
But
soon as
here's where I was
possible.
going. Here's where I was going with the terminology, the silver-haired tsunami. It does relate to baby boomers that are reaching retirement age, and there's going to be millions of them. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because I have a lot of experience with the family court, the probate court, the guardianship, and we need to put a stop to if we can, it's a project possibly, but guardianship is immoral, it's illegal, it's criminal actually, to take someone's unalienable rights away from them and give them to someone else.
I agree.
There's got to be a better way to care for our elderly. I've
Right.
experienced it excessively for 7 years with my parents. They're both gone now.
Yeah.
I have a lot of experience in this area, but the attorneys, the guardians, the judges, they believe that they're going to continue to take people's rights away with
Right.
this silver-haired tsunami. And healthcare people can be involved in trying to help this. Family can continue to be involved, but the government needs to take a step back and we need to look at a different way to do guardianship.
Roger, I've got both of my parents under my roof for the last 10 years. They're both 100% need care. My mother's wheelchair bound. My father's got a catheter 24 hours a day. We're trying to get them treatment. And because of their medicalness, things, I can't, as much as I am 100% non-allopathic, because of their financial situation, they're all about whatever has to be the system, right?
Right.
And what's ironic is my dad was in the asbestos thing where everybody had all those things, but because I had him in all those natural things,
Yeah.
he superseded the regulations of getting compensated for being in the asbestos field. Because I'd given him natural remedies, he didn't have the conditions that all his coworkers did, so he got nothing for being exposed, and now he's got cancer, right? But we can't tie it all together. Anyway, I'm just saying that I get that, I understand it.
Yep.
I'm all on board with this.
And that, Roger, is why I had wanted you to work with family services, because we need that experience in setting out a budget
Yes.
for paralegals, for people that are going to be
Absolutely.
consultation, guidance. I mean, we need to match the right consultants with the right person so that it's a benevolent situation. I've seen so much where people think they're helping and, the person walks out the door and throws it all away,
It's the corporations that are gonna try to bleed our elderly and their heirs dry.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm on board with trying to get holding these officials responsible and accountable for
right.
taking care of people. I mean, there's
But
one
what
way to do
if-
it, not the
What
government.
if Life Force Assurance comes through and says, and produces and provides 100% medical care for anybody that applies?
And
that's-
counseling.
That's allopathic medicine, it's alternative medicine, it's psychological, it's
Right.
it's every health aspect there is. They are willing to support every aspect of our health and well-being. If we can get that program implemented in an integrative way
Right.
in our society, we will succeed with everything we're trying to do.
I agree.
And I'm on
Hey,
that. That
I'm
is
gonna-
what my focus is, just so you know.
Hey, I'm gonna turn it over to Kylie for a minute and let him join you. And I gotta go in and talk to somebody for a minute.
Okay.
Thanks, Roger. We
Thank
appreciate you.
How's it going?
Hey, Kylie.
Hi,
Hey, how are
Kylie.
you? How are you guys?
Fine.
Good, good.
So you live in Dayton, right?
I'm staying in Dayton for a little while.
Helping out on his farm.
Yep.
So tell us about you. Who are you? Why? Yeah, I mean, we're appreciative of you, and tell us about who you are.
Not much to say. I mean, I like to drink beer and I like to cook and I like to build stuff and work on cars and tractors, and that's pretty
Those are
much
good
it.
things.
Yeah, there you go.
Is Roger keeping you busy?
Oh, he always keeps me busy.
Because
always-
we need your shadow to go up there and help Lisa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you find any way to clone yourself, you've got jobs all over Nevada.
I do actually. I have a lot of mining jobs too, so.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. She's up in Eureka County. And,
yeah?
yeah, she's lots of miners around her.
Yeah, I do a lot of that too.
So will you become an assembly member? Do you-
Probably.
Okay,
So
Yeah.
what can we answer for you, or what is your interest in being involved? I mean, I'm very novice on all this, by the way, just so you know.
I think it's all a good idea because our government's pretty much corrupt.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
there's no way, that's the easiest way of putting it. So,
Yeah.
yep, yep. Yeah, so I'm just here to hang out and listen, I guess. I agree with pretty much everything you guys are doing. So,
Well, one of
Well-
the outreach programs could be even just giving people seeds to plant their
Mhm.
own gardens.
Yep.
And I had talked with Chloe about that a week ago.
Mhm.
You know, she does a lot of work with healing herbs.
Yeah.
And I think it would be a good thing for us to have little packets of seeds, even if nothing else, that we can offer the folks.
Yeah.
As part of outreach.
Yes, sounds like a good idea.
I mean, we've got so many subjects, right? We've got health, nutrition, we've got power, we've got water, we've got agriculture, we've got infrastructure, we've got so many things that we could address
Right.
through community, support and new innovation. I mean, that happens to be my space, is what's the next thing coming. I do my best to be involved with new inventors, but I'm not trying to push it on this group. I'm just saying that that's part of, my, love for life and what I'm doing,
Yeah.
So as that comes about and we understand what's needed, what's ironic is that I've been on projects worldwide and I've never once stopped and said, oh, what does my own community need? Because I never thought anyone would listen. So,
Yeah.
so that's a new paradigm for me. So,
All right.
Well, we've used up our time pretty much. Topics to cover next time. That'll be Wednesday. Well, let's start with Friday. Lane is going to be presenting on how to approach people and vocabulary. That was based on your request last Friday, Don.
okay, I think that's great. Now I will try to add some to that before we get to that meeting.
Okay. And then for next Wednesday, I have no idea of what direction to go. I really truly don't. So if there's any guidance you can give me.
Heidi, all I can say is what you've been doing is phenomenal. How you're building our infrastructure and our ability to submit things. I don't know what to say. I just think I'm grateful for it. And as always, if you see new avenues that we can be prepared to get
Okay.
funded, it would be awesome.
All righty. So with that, I guess, stop the recording and we'll say our final goodbyes.